Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I would like to talk about Xbox and PlayStation and how both compete. So recently Microsoft has been very active when it comes to buying new studios and spending a lot of money for these studios and publishers and third-party deals. I mean, recently we've learned that they invested quite a lot of money in big third-party deals as well, like this Project Dragon with IO Interactive and and some other too, Contraband, for example, and there's actually more as well. So they are very active and they are finally investing big money in gaming. Microsoft is a huge company, and gaming is just one of the pillars of the company. And they are finally investing big money, and not everyone likes it, because that means that Microsoft will be able to compete. Now, how will that go? Will they manage to outperform PlayStation? Will be able to compete on the same level? Well, we don't know, because obviously money is not everything. You still have to manage these studios well. You have to have a good strategy, etc., etc., right? So I get it. Like, money is not everything. Like, we've seen so many projects that publishers spent like millions of dollars on, and some of them failed, some of them were never released. Like, look at Anthem. EA actually spent big money on that game, and it flopped. Blizzard, there was this huge MMO game that they've been working for like 6 years apparently. They spent big millions on that game, and they canceled it, right? So game development is not easy, and it costs a lot of money, of course. But the main thing I want to talk about today is the fact that there's a lot of people, and not only fanboys, because I don't even want to talk about fanboys, because fanboys are fanboys, right? And they will always, talk shit about the platform they don't like. And that's on both sides, whether we're talking about PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo fanboys, PC fanboys, doesn't matter. Like, a fanboy is a fanboy. But, recently I even noticed more and more that even media and people that usually are not necessarily fanboys per se. I mean, they may be fans of a certain platform or game or whatever, right? But I wouldn't necessarily call them a fanboys. But, some of these people, like, for example, Colin Moriarty, or some developers. I've noticed that there's this guy who used to work for Blizzard. I forgot his name. Kyle something, I think his name is. He was trying to throw Microsoft and Xbox under the bus for even trying to acquire Activision, Blizzard, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, these people are actually super active right now, and even recently, just Colin Moriarty, he had a podcast, and he was like, "Oh, Microsoft is just trying to brute force his way into the market, and he's trying to buy everything, and for Microsoft, it's all about the money." I'm like, so what is it about for Sony? I mean, are they a charity or something, right? I mean, listen, look, I get it. You may like one platform or the other. So if you like PlayStation, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Go and play these games. But why would you complain about Microsoft is trying to do their thing, what they think is good? And I'm sure you wouldn't have a problem. I'm talking about Colin. He wouldn't have a problem with Sony locking down games. I mean, hell, every single time Sony secures an exclusive, they spend quite a lot of money on third-party exclusives. It's a win. It's a huge win for PlayStation. But the second Microsoft or Xbox tries the same, oh, this can't be done. I mean, this is not acceptable. How can that be? You are taking away games from us, right? Because it's all about me. It's all about me. It's all about me, PlayStation fan. It's all about me, PlayStation owner, right? But who cares about how you feel about it, right? I mean, nobody really cares. The fact of the matter is that Microsoft has money, and just like Sony does, and Sony is actually doing great. I mean, they are selling PlayStation consoles like hotcakes. They not only have their own portfolio of very strong IPs and games, they just finished very successful generation. I mean, they kind of finished because they still supporting PlayStation 4. You know, they are selling a lot of games. And, you know, they are like, I mean, Jim Ryan did say that like PlayStation is at its best right now, I think, right? Like both financially and, you know, going by other metrics, service-wise and stuff. They are investing in games as service. They want even more money. They are releasing some games on PC finally. So that's all good, right? But like, you know, the second Microsoft tries to compete is like, and this is another thing, like I think Fritanga actually made a good point on Twitter the other day, that it's like when Sony secures an exclusive, it's like, oh, great for Sony, they are competing. What the hell is Microsoft doing? Like, you know, when will they compete? I mean, that was the talk of the street like a couple of years ago when Microsoft was not doing anything and PlayStation was just basically, you know, king of the street. But that's changing. And I'm not saying that Xbox will be the king of the street now, but like they will compete and they will, you know, tip on Sony's toes, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, and I get it, like, it's not everything that Microsoft or Xbox does is perfect and is good for consumers necessarily, not everything. But at the end of the day, it's all about competition, right? I mean, yeah, I get it. Like, hey, you don't want to buy an Xbox, like buy yourself a PC. Like, you know, a couple of years ago, like I've seen so many PlayStation guys screaming, you know, from the rooftops that, oh, they will never buy Xbox again because we will play on PC. And so where's your PCs now, right? I mean, you know, like go and buy these PCs. I mean, who cares? At the end of the day, like Microsoft has a lot of money. They want to go big in gaming now. Finally, after all these years, because let's face it, after Xbox 360 era, where they really spend a lot of money in marketing and games and deals and everything, with Xbox One, they all went quiet and they stopped spending money and investing money in Xbox. At some point, Microsoft was actually thinking about shutting down Xbox for real. This is not a leak. There was, I think, Phil Spencer in one of the interviews confirmed that. Like, he did say that they were considering closing down Xbox. I mean, not Phil per se, but like Satya Nadella and these guys right out there. And, you know, Phil Spencer was actually given a last chance, let's just say, and he was like, and Satya Nadella was, you know, prove me that you can make that Xbox division work, or we just shutting down, right? And, you know, Phil Spencer came up with plan, and Satya Nadella approved it. And, you know, once Satya Nadella approved it, yeah, you know, he found money to invest, and we are where we are. And I get it that it takes time, and I get it that people say, oh, you know, they are buying these studios, and we don't really see anything when it comes to content and whatever. And that's not entirely true. Not all these games were exclusive because of the deals they had before. But yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, Sony, it took them, you know, good couple of years, especially, you know, early in PlayStation 3 generation, to actually shift around. And by the end of that generation, they were really strong, right? And that set them up perfectly for PlayStation 4 generation. So Xbox kind of started investing again in Xbox, in games and everything around like 2018, 2019, really. So that was like towards the end of last generation. So I think we will be seeing the fruits of these investments actually right now, like the Starfield, Forza, Avowed next year, Hellblade 2 next year, and these other titles that will be coming next year in 25 and 26 and so far, right? So yeah, I mean, that's the way it works, right? It's just a business. And you know, Microsoft, when, you know, I wanted to say that when Microsoft is interested in something and they see money, they invest big. But I guess for decades really, Xbox was more like a side project. and you know, a lot of Microsoft executives didn't really understand why Xbox was there. It was bringing some money, but not a lot. So they were like, I mean, who needs that? That's why they really wanted to shut it down at some point. But now gaming becoming so popular and everything, and making a lot of money, more money than the movie industry now. Well, they see a good business there, and that's why they are backing it up with all its force, if you know what I mean, right? So that's why we will see Microsoft competing. I know that some people will not be happy about it, but who cares? And that's actually good. I actually do like what Microsoft does, and you know, with their Xbox Game Pass strategy, and you know, investing more and more in games and stuff, like yeah, not all games will be exclusive, but they will be in Game Pass. So that's all I really care about, really. I don't really necessarily mind if some games will stay multi-platform, like Call of Duty, but at the same time, like, you see that with some PlayStation games too, right? Like Bungie new game is going to be on Xbox too, even though Bungie is a first-party developer now. So guys, gaming is changing, gaming industry is changing, and you know, I guess like some people will have to adjust their you know, way of thinking. Things will not stay the same. You know, PlayStation perfected the kind of the old business model for gaming, and that's why they are so successful. But we are, even right now, we seeing Sony shifting. Like, they are releasing games on PC. Like, yes, a year, 2 years later, but still, that was unheard of a couple of years ago, right? I mean, if you were to say that Sony will be releasing their first party games on PC a couple of years ago, you would be laughed at. So who's laughing now? Well, not PC gamers for sure. I mean, I mean, they are laughing because they're actually glad that they are getting these games for sure. So anyway, guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.